Ready, aim, release! Anyone see my mammoth? We're back. We are back.
Yo,
So,
yo, yo.
Carlo, how was your weekend?
Weekend was good. Yeah, it's been a relaxed week, hasn't it, Mickey?
It has been a
Nothing's
relaxed
happened.
week. Nothing. No,
No.
that's why I said weekend and not week.
Yeah.
um,
None of
yeah.
the usual song drama.
No song
No.
drama here.
No song drama.
Is that what we are? Are we just drama hype men now? Is that it? Like
Yeah.
someone,
The Gossip Girls.
go and find Keemster and things like that on YouTube. Go the new heroes for Song Ice and Fire in Town. No, yeah, lots of things went on this week.
Lots of stuff. It just every day there just seemed to be a new thing, just like coming at and then all of a sudden tournaments.
Yeah, do you know what's worse? Actually, do you know what's worse, right? Is that everything that happened over the last week, not all of it's bad. Like, not all of it is actually just straight up bad. Like, I can't say that. But it just felt like everything that happened, I was like, what? Just like, why? And then there was another, but why? And then there's another, but why? And even today, I was sat there and like, I was on the way home and I was thinking about what we're going to get. And then it was like, something else happened and I was like, but why? It's just like,
But why?
my entire week has just been, but why? So, we'll dive into it. Without addressing the elephant in the room as directly as this we could possibly do, CMON Alternative Army Construction Variant. I'm going to attempt to be as neutral as I feel I can, and I will attempt to, at least I think we will attempt to represent the pros and cons. But the list of cons feels long. And yet I will completely preface everything we say here with there is completely nothing wrong with having alternative structures to list building, right? I don't think anybody here is complaining that there's an alternative structure, like, at all. Like, the fact that they have said that there is not a problem. I want to get that out of the way first and foremost. We had Shane on here the other week, who's his scenarios. A lot of him have like strict list building limits and things like this. Certain things you have to take, this and the other. They're fine. They're completely and utterly fine.
Mm-hmm.
The thing is that this and what CMON are doing, it's a direct kind of like contravention of that exact statement, even though that's not what they say. So we'll dive into it anyway. Carlo,
yeah,
your initial thoughts when you saw this break?
So when I very first saw it, I mean, the very first thing I see when I look at it is my very first instinct and reaction was, why are you making Night's Watch stronger? Like, if you know anything about the game right now, you know that this makes the most powerful things in the game better, not worse, and it hinders everybody trying to have a chance against that. So that was my initial reaction. So my initial gut reaction was, why are you creating a format which is worse balance? And then I just thought, oh, well, who cares, right? And then I found out that medium is 42 points and large is 56 points. And that hugely changed my reaction to it as a whole, because that's when I was literally like, why? What the fuck are you doing? Like, why would you ever basically split the community and the way the game is played in that way? You've ever since the game's conception said that the game is played at 30, 40, and 50 points. If you want to go way bigger, sure, do whatever you want.
Yeah, you
But
can play. You can
know,
play any point limit if you really want to. Like,
exactly.
they even say that, but they recommend
But the
these numbers.
the rule book says 40 points is like the recommended amount. It's a medium-sized game. It's on a 4x4 table. If you go to every 10 points that you add after that, it's giving you it even tells you like for every 10 points that you add this many to the victory point count. We recommend that your table gets this much bigger. Like the game has been always specified around this 30, 40, 50 kind of bracket. The game is overwhelmingly, from what I've ever seen, played at 40, right?
Mhm.
Like so overwhelmingly, it's a 40-point game on a 4x4 table. To suddenly say this is 42 points now is just who fucking decide? Like what? Like why, who, what are you trying to achieve,
But
right?
you know what the stupid thing is, right? You know what the stupid thing is? If this was part of, like, I'm not saying a second edition, but a new rulebook, like 2021, they could have made this exact change and said, look, for 2021, you're just playing the medium game now for balance reasons. We've decided to make it 42 points, or for the game way the
Yeah,
rules are played 42 points, and we'd have gone like bit weird, bit strange, but we'd have accepted it. It would have been like,
yeah,
okay, you've just decided to change the way the game plays a little bit. You've decided to change the balancing a little bit. What I don't understand is why they've not done that. And this
yeah,
is really not that long ago. Like, if we were to believe that this has only just come out now, and we're to believe the way that Simon spout the way they do things, this has been in the works for 9-10 months already.
yeah. And
That's
like
if we believe
that
them.
and the crossover of that and the testing and the release schedule of 2021 balance all have to be completely overlapped. They have to have been considered together, or you threw this together last week. They're the only two options. Either you threw it together since the edition got released, or they were made in like cohesively together. They're the only two options, and both the idea that you made a 42 and 56 point rule set or game mode in collaboration with a rule book that tells you to play at 40 and 50 points at the same time, or that you suddenly threw them out there once you saw like the community's reaction to your 40 and 50 point rule book and you tried to save it with this, is both just like bad news. Like they're both bad news.
Yeah.
So for me, the thing about like, okay, let's put it this way. So you talked a little bit about Shane's
Scenarios.
scenario
Yeah.
play, narrative play, custom battles, which are specific lists that play against each other. What this is list restrictions, right? As a
Yeah.
general rule, this is list restrictions.
Well, it even calls
Now,
it that. It literally calls them
yeah,
additional rules
okay,
and
there
restrictions.
you go. If you think about the pure concept of restricting things, there is no reason to restrict something for narrative play. What narrative play should do is it should allow you additional options. Say, Lannisters get to field Tyrell units. They get
Yeah.
to field Rose Knights. Your free folk, your Night's Watch get to field free folk units after they join together. All that kind of shit, right?
Or
Like
even prescribed characters, like you have to take Jamie for a single, or have to
individual,
take
yeah,
Mance.
must take an army led by this, and then you get this, and you
Yeah.
get new things, and like things open up, right?
Yeah.
And that creates a particular themed army. Creates a particular theme. If you're just going to go out there and say armies must prescribe to these limits, it's normal game with more limitations on. That's not narrative play, right?
No.
That can only be an attempt to try and bring competitive gameplay into balance. If you're just going to limit things based on numbers, no characters mentioned, no narrative play mentioned, blanket put it across the game, then you are trying to put balance onto competitive play. It has no narrative play value at all. If we're playing narratively and we choose that we want to play named characters and we want to use more attachments, that's a choice we can make. You don't have to come there and say, you must take 4 points of attachments or more to make us play narratively. If we want to play narratively like that, then you need to give us additional options, not restrict us.
Yeah.
So it has zero narrative value. It has zero casual play value. And so it can only be considered a competitive structure. And competitively speaking, it is the worst fucking idea anybody has ever heard, because it takes the most powerful lists in the game, makes them better, and pisses off everybody else who's trying to have a hope in hell at fighting them.
What I mean, this got likened to the systems that we use in old fantasy, and the regiments idea that's been used in 40k on and off in different editions. Um, if in case you don't know, in old fantasy, basically for years you had different troop classifications. Everything was obviously different, but you had different classifications. You had core, special, rare. Was there another one as well? I think I can't remember. I think there was
Yeah.
another one as well.
You had you had lords and heroes,
Lords and
and
heroes, of course. Yeah.
you had lords, heroes. They made up two different character types. You must take like 50% core. You can
Yeah.
only take
Two or
25%
three specials
specials,
or one rare, or
25% rares, whatever.
yeah.
Yeah, basically that kind of stuff.
That was a fantasy. 40k had very similar. It was like back in the older days when I mean played a long time ago when I last played 40k really, but it had like you had your troop type, and you had to take certain troops, and if you took 3 troops it unlocked one like special, which could be a tank or something like that, and then you had to take a command. You always had to have a command.
Yeah.
And it was, obviously every army was different, but they all followed those roughly same regiment, army, whatever structures. That
Yeah.
was the way 40k did it. Now, the reason that 40k can get away with that, because I see some people say, "Oh, it's just like 40k," and that's fine. Well, 40k fantasy have always been renowned for being really balanced. First of all, um, and second of all, and this is the important thing, they were balanced and they were built around those concepts. That's actually the important thing, is that the
Yeah.
game is built around you have a lord. At this number of points, you have one. You have some heroes, you have some units, you have specials and rares. From that, the meta then develops. What we see here is we see a game that was never designed to have these restrictions. Certainly, they've never said you must take attachments, you must take NCUs. The beauty of A Song of Ice and Fire is you can put 40 points of combat units and take you, in the olden days, you could put 40 points of Dothraki veterans. Done. Drogo in one of them, let's go. Is it a good list? Probably not. But if that's what you want to do, you can do it. That's the thing, is that there was no restriction. There was just you play the game in the way that suits you. While also, actually, that's still completely legal. You can take that to a tournament. You're not splitting anybody. Okay, it might be bad, but good and bad, that's irrelevant. Being able to do it is the important thing. What we see here is you can't do things. Like, the first one, and the obvious pick, and the obvious thing for us, is that we immediately look to the NCU points. We immediately see that with the flex points used at 8, with a 4-point inherent NCU package you must take, which we'll get onto that in a second actually, it gives you 12 points in NCUs, maximum. Which immediately means that if you're running 3 NCUs, they've got to be 4-pointers. Now, that in itself isn't a problem, really. That's what factions tend to do. But immediately, certain factions immediately just get priced out. Can't take 3 NCUs and you... Oh, Mel? No, you can't do that, Baratheon. Can't take Mel and 3 NCUs. Screw you.
Tyrion, Khaleesi and Shireen,
Yep.
like just all of them. Like you just reinforced the 3 lots of 4-point NCU meta. Like you just reinforced it rather than they're desperately. It feels so much like they've basically gone so close to saying you're not allowed to play 3 NCUs, but they knew that they couldn't get away with saying you're not allowed to play 3 NCUs. So they made it just enough so that you can, so that people can't say they've banned 3 NCUs, right? Because they're allowed. But like, well, they've just banned lots of 3 NCU combinations, but not all of them.
Yeah. What I actually don't like, and I think probably everyone actually here agrees, is we wouldn't be massively happy if they banned 3 NCUs. But I don't actually think anyone would complain and say, "Oh my god, the game is now dead." Like you
Yeah,
would completely shift the balance. The balance would be completely different,
yeah.
to some extent. But no one would be like, "Oh my god, I'm never gonna play this game again."
I mean, Night's Watch are already doing fine with two NCUs, so let's not
Yeah,
worry.
exactly. Well, Free Folk actually got some pretty good results with two NCUs.
Yeah,
Like it's just if they want to ban it, and this is coming from like the competitive side of the community, I believe. I have to admit, I haven't spoken to many people about these rules, which is, I've just not wanted to. Ultimately, I felt a bit crappy about them. Um,
no, I feel like pretty much everybody that I've seen, their reaction has been nope.
yeah,
And like, there's not even like people aren't even discussing it, like the pros and cons. So they're just like, no.
yeah.
And
Now,
that was it. Like, it was gone a day later. I mean, other things came along, as we'll talk about soon,
yeah.
and the conversation moved on. But the conversation lasted about 2 hours of, no, fuck off. I'm not playing that.
Now we might live in an echo chamber, and I know there's some people
Yeah,
out there who like are massively like, yeah, pro. And do I think that if you're not like, if we take away the meta for a second, right, and we look at some of the pros, like, do you think this mixes up list building opportunities? Some people will look at this and go, yeah, it makes people choose different lists and select different things. Um, Great. If that works for your group, I can't argue against it, right? I can't argue against this for your group. The point I would argue though is, why did you need this? Tell you to mix
yeah.
it up.
So I was thinking about the only time that I would want to use this is if I was trying to force a beginner to build a list which contained everything so that they could learn about every aspect of the game
Yeah.
and say, by the way, I'm also going to play a similar list. We're both going to play lists within this restriction, which means that while I obviously know that I can still abuse this system even more than I can abuse the normal system, I'm going to use this system to say, look, I'm going to use some of everything. I'm going to use some combat units. I'm going to use some NCUs. I'm going to use some attachments. We're going to see them all play out. We're going to play it and we're going to get a feel for like every part of the game. And this will help you have an idea roughly of what I'm going to field. It'll help you build your first army. It's my first army, 1, 2, 3. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
and yet what it is it's a limitation on like 5 out of the 8 factions and the best list they can make, but not on like 3 of them. Like that's still for 2 or 3 factions. Their best lists are already in this format, and that's not people in the middle. That's people right at the top. Do you know what I mean? You've just meant that people right at the top aren't getting any worse, and the people down the bottom are. And so I'm asking, like, that beginner's game, that teaching game, if we've got any value to the community as a champion of the game in the local area, I'm already gonna tell my opponent that anyway. I'm already gonna say, you know what, let's build your list together, let's put some cool stuff in it. I'm not gonna take an absolute meta list and absolutely wipe the floor with you. I'm gonna use some cool characters, I'm gonna do some stuff, and you know what? I'm probably even gonna try and throw the game, right? But they're just things that, like, I didn't need list restrictions to teach me how to do that. I just have to be doing that if I want people in the local area to be into the game. But saying that, Mickey, we have the tiniest fucking gaming group ever, so maybe that's why we got no friends.
Well, no, we have no friends, therefore we have no small gaming group. Get it right, it's the way around. Um, so yeah, there's that side of it. The other side, and I know, and this sounds like I'm being nitpicky, but these rules don't make any sense, right? They don't make any sense from a core kind of like production value side of writing them, right? First of all, it's one sheet of paper. I mean, no joke, you could probably write this in about 26 minutes. I say 26 minutes because that's the number of points you get for combat units. There you go. You could write this whole page in 26 minutes, format it in 2-3 minutes before. Simon formatting for a Song of Ice and Fire, it's not that difficult. They've already got the art and background work and things done. right? No, the thing that I don't understand is that they talk about quality checking, right? Is Cersei an important member of the character group? So why is she
Oh,
Queen Regent?
she's the Queen Reg.
Queen Regent, right? Now, oh, Mickey, you're just being a dick. You're just pulling them up for a spelling mistake that they shouldn't be making. Okay, so let's go into this bit here. That's the start. Let's go into this bit here. When creating your army, your total points are divided into 4 categories. Each category has a minimum allotment of points that may be spent for that specific type.
Minimum May.
Minimum may. So
Is it a minimum?
is it a minimum or is it a may? And the difference here is you could legit pretty much take any 40 point list, change your NCUs around so they have to be 4 pointers because that's a hard limit, and you've now got a completely legal list in this format at 40 points, and you don't have to spend any more points on attachments.
Yeah.
Basically, what it just said is
you're just giving 2 points to the people who are already buying 4 points of attachments.
yes, or wanted to buy 4 points of attachments.
Yeah.
That's actually the thing I don't understand, is that like you don't even have to conform to this in the same way that you can make a 39 point list in A Song of Ice and Fire if you can't fit that extra point in. Completely legal. This seems to suggest that you have to spend these points, or they have to be allocated to these things, but you don't have to spend them. It's just
It's also crazy when you look at their example lists, right? Their example lists piss me off too, right?
Yeah.
So the big thing that we haven't particularly, we've been dancing around and not the thing that this does is it says you must minimum may have 4 points of attachments, right?
Yep.
This is the killer. For most armies, this is the problem. Anybody who has relentless is like, sure, whatever. Yeah. I'll spend 3 points on relentless. That's cool. Anybody who doesn't is like, what the fuck? I don't want to spend 4 points on attachments. That's just lost me a whole combat unit. How did it lose me a whole combat unit? It took me from 5 combat units to 4 combat units. Let's be specific about that too, because that's a problem. Because now I have a commander in one of them, and I have 3 other combat units, and they can't even take 1 point attachments. I have to have a good 2 or 3 point attachment in my list, otherwise I'm wasting points. I'm sorry, but like there just aren't good 2 and 3 point attachments in every faction. That's just wasted points for so many people, right? So the 4 point attachment thing is basically like this hard minimum we think, it says minimum, must spend, and is the limit that is, basically killing off everybody from Lannisters and below. Then when you look at the lists that they made, they, of course, tried to create normal looking lists. Not one of them spends a single flex point on attachments, because why the fuck would you buy more points of attachments unless your name is Night's Watch, right? And funnily enough, they all spend nearly all of their flex points on NCUs, because basically what you've said is buy more fucking attachments, buy less NCUs, you bastards. But you didn't want to admit that that's what you wanted to say. So instead you said, here's some flex points. Watch as we spend all our flex points on NCUs so that our armies don't look fucking stupid and people don't just go, that's fucking a shit army, mate. I'm not playing that. Oh, God.
It gets funnier in that I don't even think whoever wrote these lists knew what they were doing. Right? Why would you pick... A genuine question, right? Why would anyone, in the life of literally everybody, anywhere, for anything, pick Mage Mormon for 2 points? Wait for it. Because, okay, Mage Mormon might not be great, but, hey, if you want to spend 2 points on attachment, great. Why the fuck would you spend 2 points on Mage Mormon for 2 abilities, go down fighting and unyielding, and every single fucking unit in your army has unyielding as a base fucking level ability? You just paid 2 points for go down fighting that you get for 1 point on Osha or whatever it is, or equivalent other. Like, it's not even that.
It's because they had a 1-point attachment in their slot, and they were like, "Fuck, we have to buy a 2-point attachment."
Yeah, it's like, and this is the thing. And I know they're only example armies, but like, and I know people might want to run Mage Mormont from a non-competitive side of the game, but I'm pretty sure that nobody who's played the game ever goes, you know where Mage Mormont goes really well in 2021? Those Umber Berserkers or those Umber Great Axes. They'll probably go, oh, I probably want her in a different unit. And it's like, it's like it's not even good.
She-Bears in there.
Yeah.
Fucking hell. Like, what?
And that's, I mean, that's not even, I mean, She-Bears, I mean, that's talking competitively. I'm just talking about from a pure, like, literal read the damn rules. That's a bad decision. Like, you don't even have to understand anything about the game. It's just that rule and that rule are the same. Don't pay for it twice.
Yeah.
And yeah, it just, it's aggravating. It's aggravating because it's something that we didn't want.
I mean, I actually like Terra's suggestion. So
Yeah.
I think what he's suggesting is, can we have a tourney where everybody has to run one of those 3 lists? You only have to pick which you think is the best of those 3 lists, and you run them in a in a 3-way event.
I'm not even gonna lie. I know which one I would pick. 100% of the time, I'm picking that free folk list because that's not even a terrible free folk list. Aside from it has only 2 NCUs, it's not even that trash. It's got the 2 better NCUs in my opinion, Val and Ygritte, and it has Bone Lords Chosen. Okay, it runs Thens. Whatever, a piece of shit. But have you also noticed?
It shows. I mean, they've put that in because it shows that the adaptive doesn't count, right? That you don't count that as attachments, which again is just like you just kicking the standard lists. That when I say standard list, I'm not saying like, oh, this is meta. This is so competition powerful. No, free folk presumably are supposed to have raiders, and like
Get 2 of them in the core box. You'd hope so.
and so you know, there aren't enough attachments left to put in them. We even skipped over. This is all but a ban on Mother of Dragons at medium-sized games, right? That's the one powerful list it manages to take out the game, and it takes it out as a almost flat-out ban, right? You can actually just about squeeze in enough points of combat units that you can buy enough points of really expensive attachments to put in them to meet your minimums. But I think you're playing with 1 NCU at that point. And I mean, it's really a feels bad Mother of Dragons list. But basically, it's just a ban on cheap attachments and a requirement to run attachments.
I mean, we won't even go into I mean, the Mighty lists. Mag for 9, 1/1
monsters
for,
in general.
Yeah, it just
mammoths.
It just completely neuters that, and that's not even been released. Like, that's something we know is coming around the corner. It's not even been released, and you're already looking at it thinking, yeah, this is just sucks a little bit. You can't run these lists properly with these setups, and I just, I guess the question I always came back to was why. Why release this? What purpose does this have? And I'm trying to give them the benefit of the doubt. I'm trying to say that maybe there's a purpose, but every time I've tried really hard, I just struggle really to come up with this conclusive reason as to why you would do this.
Most people in the chat, they're saying, you know what I mean, like, it really looks like they spent not long on it, or that, you know, it's been given to an intern of some kind. Feels like, you know, that's a joke a lot of people make at the moment, that it feels like every release that CMON make recently has been given to an intern. It feels like it's really not been thought through. It's just like a quick task that somebody like got given, somebody who doesn't understand the implications. I think a lot of things get answered if you begin with an assumption that they don't play the game.
Yeah.
Right? If you and actually this has been, you know, thrown at like a lot of different companies over different years, that the game starts to fall apart when its rules are being created by people who don't play it, right? If you don't play it and understand it, you just don't see the problems, and you're creating new problems. You're not fixing old problems. And yeah, it's just really, it's hard because I particularly have sat here for ages saying, God, wouldn't it be great if we could see more named characters in the game? We could see more characters being played. And it feels like this was like, they were like, this is how we get characters played. And it's like, no, that's, you need to make the character good enough that I want to play him. You
So,
don't tell me you must spend points, and you must spend so many of them that you might as well buy the overcosted character.
could we just take a second there? Named characters that you want to see him play more. Like, I will have to give Simon kudos for this, right? Greyjoys. Greyjoys made Victarion 3 points
Yeah.
worth picking. They made Asher
Yeah.
worth picking. They made Carl worth picking. Okay, you don't see many of the others, but you do see Euron every now and then. People take him because they think it's interesting.
Like
Newt with
there's
Victarion
barely
lists.
a character. There's barely a character in Greyjoys that people are like, I'm not picking him. Look at him, he's crap. Like, they're just like, yes. Oh, I can't afford them all, so I'll pick the slightly better ones. They're not like, they're shite.
Yeah. It's just, I mean, even, I'll be honest with you, even in Free Folk, I've been running a lot of the attachments. I really like Harmer. I really like Rattleshirt when I can fit him in. I actually kind of like Weeper, even though I don't think he's that good. I like seeing those. Tormund, brilliant. Even though it's 2 points, I'd much prefer it was 1. But the point is that I'm still looking at them thinking I'm going to take them. Because they've made them, in the setting, viable options. But I'm talking about factions that have already got core cheap units that don't worry about activations, that often have 2 or 3 points at the end where they're like, I don't really want any other units, I don't really want to upgrade a unit, I just want to take some cool attachments that do funky things like Warcry, which is obscene. I can't say the same for Baratheon. You know, Baratheon are taking Stormcrow mercenaries to take Davos attachment for free, because otherwise they can't afford him. Like,
because that's a worse version of conscripts, and that's their best unit. They'd pay 5 points for it. To all those people who are like, conscripts can't be 5 points, nobody would buy them. I mean, literally, Baratheons are buying Stormcrow mercs with Davos in for 5 points, and they're like, that's about the best unit we can buy, guys.
the only change between the two, realistically, is there's a couple of, like, the attack profile's basically the same, and you have
a 4+ save.
You have a 4+
right?
save, and technically the thing where they run away, they take 1 more wound from panic tests, which
shields.
Yeah, then the Night's Watch
Swords
deck.
in the Darkness, like the conscripts are better.
Yeah.
Like,
no, they are. They are
not,
100%.
I'm not putting that Stormcrow Merc unit into a one-on-one fight with conscripts and expecting them to win. Like, the conscripts win as soon as you play shields and something else on them. The conscripts absolutely win.
Yeah. Yeah, and never mind the fact that they are a point less, and you can put like 1 point attachments in them, like senior builders, and then you're just laughing. Yeah, it's and I think iRobot says it well. If there was greater parity between the factions, you think the list construction might have been received a lot better. Yeah, 100% agree, because it would have been seen as an alternative that offered a different way of building lists. The problem is that this. Here's another really important thing, right? This doesn't change the game. There is not a single thing here that says to you, doing these core things that you used to do to make a 40-point list good, that isn't true anymore. Like, there are lists that I run as free folk, and I think Weasel was saying it before. I just now have 2 more points to spend on units or attachments. That's literally, my list is completely legal.
Yeah.
Following this strategy, 3 4-point NCUs and some stuff. So I just have 2 more points. Cool. Other people are like, oh, your lists that you've got, completely invaluable, like, completely unavailable, invalid. If my list is completely valid and now has more points, and your lists are completely invalid, and you are running the best lists you can believe that you can run to challenge mine already, well, I'm just going to win harder. because your list is now suboptimal. From a competitive angle, that's really bad.
Yeah. And that's happening reliably and repeatedly to the factions down the bottom, not to the factions up the top. If it were affecting the factions up at the top, making their lists illegal, you'd taken the very specific things that would like people had problems with in the game, and you were effectively banning them in all but like the exact, they at least required a redesign. They at least had to come back down to being slightly less efficient. Then you would have created, hopefully, a different, better balance. At the very least, it's a different balance. It's a new challenge. I'm always talking about the fact that like things changing at least creates something new, but nothing has changed at the top except MOD doesn't exist. And I really don't think that's good. People ask me straight away like, oh, what are you gonna do about this with like the builder? How are you gonna build this in? And I was just like, and at first, like I say, at very first, I thought it was 40 points. And I thought, well, I'm not. If people want to use it, then they just use it, and they both like manually check each other's lists and check that they conform to this. And then I realized it was 42, lost my fucking shit because I was like, well, I'm not. Like nobody, I don't want this. Everybody I've spoken to doesn't want this. I'm not going to waste any of my time on it. And unless suddenly it turns out that everybody's playing this, we'll probably never discuss it again on Tourney Ground. So what a waste of time for everybody. Whoever spent their time on this has completely wasted their time because they've missed the point.
It's all right because I've just made a 42 points on War Council. I believe it fits, 3 4-point NCUs. I've got quite a few attachments. Jesus, I might have to tone down the attachments. I think I've taken too many attachments in my Night's Watch list. Damn. And yeah, it says 42 points out of 40 illegal list.
Yeah.
So this is the official builder, and it says it's not legal. Okay, cool.
Very true.
Yeah. Now, there is also, and we know we've spent a long time talking about this already, there is one more thing. Some people say if you don't like it, you don't have to use it. And they are right. They are 100% correct. We don't have to use it. And should we be getting our knickers in a twist? Should we going apeshit?
Always.
Should we be creating drama out of something which is just a nice thing for Simon to give to the community? Those people are correct, right? We shouldn't be getting all upset. We shouldn't be getting angry, right? This is true. But there is a big caveat, and it's a massive one. And it comes in the article they posted. Last year, you might recall, we released a series of public playtest game modes to give players some variety through the tribulations that made up 2020. Eventually, some of these game modes made their way into the core series for official play. Today, we have something similar to offer. That is the problem. Those opening statements there, because that is what we played. We championed the the beta game modes. We actually put them into the first builder league. They had only come out, and we just said, "Look, sod it. We're on the first builder league. We're going to use all new beta game modes." We ran events where beta game modes were included later on in the season.
Based on the community's favorites, right?
Yeah.
So I took feedback on every game mode, which I passed on to Simon. They never even acknowledged that I'd passed it on. Like, as in, they never even. I sent them like an email and a message and stuff like that. They never even said, "Thanks, received that," or anything. But
was it
anyway,
close to 100? It would have been close to 100 players' feedback over the 3 game modes that we played.
Yep. Exactly. On what they felt like its level of balance was, its interactivity, whether or not they enjoyed the game, all that kind of stuff. Based on that feedback, I picked the ones that people enjoyed the most and used them in future events. Funnily enough, it was not those modes none of those modes that people enjoyed became the official one that they accepted. And we're back to this idea. Where does the feedback come from? What is the feedback mechanism by which they decide whether or not the community want this? Because seriously, wherever it is, please fucking inundate it by saying, no, 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 don't do this. No, no, never, no, 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 no. Don't implement this, but it doesn't exist. Like where? And so, well, what's the answer? Are we supposed to go and have rants on Facebook? Because like the community seems to be saying, stop fucking ranting on Facebook. Do you know what I mean? Like, put all of your Baratheon rants and your Night's Watch are overpowered rants and Baratheons are underpowered rants. Put them all in this post and shut the fuck up. Seems to be like the way that is being dealt with. And to be honest, like I'm not actually super against that, except for the fact that where is feedback supposed to get to Simon? Like, there's no official forum. They don't exist on the Discords anymore. They either do or don't exist on the Facebook. So
yeah, and that's the thing. I will give some credit. We saw Honed and Ready made a legal game mode, a tournament game mode, and Honed and Ready is a good game mode. I think everyone actually says the new Honed and Ready with the changes they made actually is fine on the most part.
yeah,
It has various different balance problems with it, I think, but the balance problems with it are actually countered by the fact that it has other issues, and it's like the irony being that the two issues balance each other out, so it ends up being really good. The difference between being a five objective game mode is like, oh god, if you got more units, you lose. But it's like, yeah, but you're gonna die. And generally speaking,
if you have cheap ones, and control all the objectives, they're gonna get shot.
Yeah, and you can even proc the zones to make them get shot more, so they die faster. Like that's actually completely fine. Do I think those two things are balanced?
One of the best modes.
I don't think those two things are nicely balanced for factions, but they balance out well between two mechanics. Very strange.
Yeah.
But
Here
then
we stand.
Here we stand, which is, as me and Carlo have said on multiple occasions, it's an interesting scenario to create situations. Yeah. It is not good to play.
No, it's up there in the list of modes that people like tell a tournament organizer who doesn't know that much about the game, don't use that game. No, 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 no. That is not tournament worthy. It's going to slow the tournament down. It slows the game down. It slows everything down. It's a nightmare to run, nightmare to measure. It's a nightmare to like make decisions on. I enjoy playing it. It's a step of Storm of Swords as a non-competitive game mode. It cannot be used in tournaments.
So, yeah. So we end up with this alternative construction variant that may or may not be coming to tournaments near you and being used. Not by us, no, but like it might be being used.
Please no. Please no.
I'll always say at local level meta, this is probably fine. Like it really is probably fine. If we see this get used at any major event that people care about or that matters or that has a name, I'm of the opinion that Simon have successfully killed their own game. Genuinely believe that, which I shouldn't have to believe. I shouldn't need to believe that, and that sounds really unbelievably negative. But it's just so off the pulse from what the community wants. So away from what people are talking about. No one was coming along and saying what we need to do, create an alternative army construction that doesn't change half of the lists in the game, but it does change the other one. If they want to make it 2 NCUs only, you can have a maximum of 2 NCUs. Just say it. It's not nice. It's not a nice thing to have to do. Just fucking say it. We'll rip the band-aid off. Me and Carlo will cry for about 5 minutes, and then we'll go, you know what? It's fine. Everyone's been limited to it. There's going to be a new meta. There's new balance. There's new good things and bad things. We'll roll with it.
Yeah. Just say 30-point games, one NCU. 40-point games, 2 NCU max. 50-point games, 3 NCU max. Like, or something like that. Do you know, like, just something like that.
I just can't. Introducing a limited system to a game that was designed at its very core to be, you do what you want to do, and they're doing it with some kind of pretense that this is kind of like a more structured way of doing things, that then structures it in a way that directly limits some factions and doesn't impact others at all. It's even imbalance in the construction. It just shows you how off the pace they are. And it gets worse, right?
Fuck it. Let's move on. That's it. We're done. Alternative construction variant. Never spoken about again. Just that's it. It's done, guys.
Yep.
Whew. I feel better for having ranted about it. I think nearly everybody in the chat is like, yeah, that's exactly how I felt about it. Nobody. I mean, I know that the 50 odd people watching right now are close to the echo chamber that we talk about, that we already are the people that we talk to regularly. This is the kind of things that, these are the same people who we would likely hear the same things from. But there's not a single person in the chat right now defending this. And nearly always, like me and Mickey, like me particularly, I'll say I say what I think, whether it's popular or not. And nearly every week there's somebody saying, no, you're wrong. Look, do you know what I mean? Think about it like this, calling me out no, I think differently about that. Not a single person has said, guys, you've just talked about this for 40 minutes. Have you even thought about this? Nobody's got a positive word to defend this with. And so I'm really, yeah. I just hope that we never have to talk about it again, because I hope that it never appears again. I really do.
I wait to see Jesse commenting, who will no doubt comment on that afterwards, or he might comment now, I don't know. But Jesse always says something which is not to be devil's advocate, but he always says something that is representing the other side. And actually, to be credit to him, he does. I think he does a good job at that.
I respect what he has to say. He talks his mind, and he has his own opinions, and they're all absolutely fine.
Don't agree.
I think differently about a lot of things in the game than he does, but he's, absolutely entitled to those opinions. I would be interested if he has something positive to say about this, because I don't see any positives.
So the reason I mention it is because it's people like him, and if you disagree with what we're saying, don't just switch off. Actually challenge us, because I'd rather be challenged and shown where I'm wrong. But
and Dan, that's bait, Dan. That's
bait. That's
yeah.
bait. We know you, Dan.
You're not allowed to just say I like it. You have to give a positive.
Yeah. But yeah, so and he keeps, as much as we, want to be right, in some ways, like Jesse and people like that do represent the other side, and I think it's important to have them around in a community to prevent it being the infinite echo chamber that sometimes gets created in others. So if you do disagree with us, please do let us know. It's not just one of these oh, shut up, you're wrong. Let us know, because you are just as right as us with your opinions. We will just disagree with you until perhaps you prove us otherwise.
And have an actual debate about it. I actually love to discuss and debate these things. Do you know what I mean? Just not in most written formats. Written formats are so I don't participate in any of the Facebook debate, because it's not debate. It's just it's just argument. But
Adam, not a name I recognise. It says if this is a beta, when and if it's released, the game could look very different with new cost rebalancing of attachments and units. New hero boxes, yeah, that is actually true. That is true. By the time they release this, the game could be different. If they did this as a precursor to, I'm going to say the next edition, but the new rebalance or whatever, I'll just call it 2022.
Yeah.
Right? If they did this as a precursor to 2022, and 2022 was balanced with this in mind, I'm not 100% against that, actually. Not 100%. I think there would be more reason to think that that's okay, because the game is balanced with this in mind. Mm-hmm. And then 5-point NCUs, 6-point NCUs could be stronger, right? They could actually be. 6-point NCU could be incredible. But it's but you're only getting one. Some tough luck.
Yeah.
There is definitely merit in the long run.
But I mean, when that's all prefaced on this hope that, hey, maybe they'll rebalance the whole game.
Yeah.
When that's the underlying current of the discussion, hey, yeah, this could be good if they rebalance the whole game. Yeah, well, normal 40-point games would be good if they rebalance the whole game.
Exactly.
So,
Visions of Flames 2022 before we get the 2021 cards. Terra.
Don't think so. Not if you order from Russia.
Order from Russia. Russia.
Here we
Russia.
go. I mean, Is that next on the news? Or God, when did this come out? Monday? Are we?
No. So
we on
alternative.
Tuesday yet?
No. So we've actually done this all backwards. This was Friday.
Oh, sweet, nice.
We're
Cool.
going back in time.
Cool. Yeah.
Right, Back
Right.
to the Future.
Finger
Right.
on the pulse. Right on Friday.
Before this, we had another
Yeah.
announcement that was made. I think this was. Oh no, that's later on. The other announcement, I haven't got the picture ready, and I swear someone will find it. I swear someone will blame me or have a go at me for not having this ready on time to queue because I'm an idiot. Let's hope that this is the right one. Oh yes, let's go.
Here we go.
So, this is the one I happen to know because I happen to have this saved on Discord somewhere. Now, we already knew all this stuff was coming out, right? Just point out, go back to Tourney Ground, like, I think it's 51 or 50, I can't remember which one it was. We talked about all the stuff appearing on Asmodee UK's website. Asmodee UK had tons and tons of this stuff up for pre-order back then. We went through it. Whoops, let's not do it that way. I can't be bothered. I'm not going to find it now. I can't even remember the website address.
There's a lot of stuff.
There is a lot of stuff. To go through the full list, I'm going to try and get this right. I might get this wrong. We have got Targaryen Heroes 2, the Blood Rider box, the Clegane Brigands, the Silence Men, the Thorn Watch, Free Folk Heroes Box 2, Mag the Mighty, and Wun. Night's Watch Heroes Box 2, Karstark Spearman.
Yep.
And that is all the stuff we saw at the CMON Expo the other day, or the CMON Expo, what was it? I remember what it was. The thing, the CMON announcement, whatever it was.
Yeah.
FAQ.
What was it?
I don't think it was an event, wasn't it?
It definitely was something.
Yeah, it was one of the events. I can't remember which one. Anyway.
San Diego Comic-Con.
Oh, of course it is.
SDCC.
Yeah, San Diego. Of course it was. The Comic-Con, to be honest. Yeah, San Diego Comic-Con is the biggest one, of course. So all of that stuff that was mentioned in Comic-Con is what is being touted as a Q3 release, which in some parts of the world is going to be released in approximately 12 days. 12 to 13 days. They believe that shipping arrives on the 22nd, the 23rd. We will see. Could be more like 20. If you're in other parts of the world, you haven't even got Q2 stuff yet. No idea when it's coming out for you. I'm sorry. What is also supposed to be coming out within this, though, is the faction packs. Finally, is part of Q3 release. In the same time, the faction packs will be coming. So that Q2 release is now a Q3 release. Whatever, fine. We'll live with it. But at this rate, it's going to be the back end of Q3 for something that was supposed to be released in Q2. Now, I know they had problems. We've talked about that a lot. It's there. It's coming, right? What else are you supposed to be getting? Well, like we see here, the Frozen Shore Chariot's supposed to be coming out. Now, these haven't actually ever been announced. And everyone's like,
out of nowhere.
Whoa.
Ba-ba-ba.
Except we talked about Frozen Shore Chariots in November of last year, I think.
Yeah. They've been on pre-order list kind of things for forever.
Yonks. Yeah. And not even like leaked ones, just shop pre-order ones that just been...
Yeah.
So yeah, Frozen Shore Chariots, they're coming out. Finally, we saw the image here.
Anything else?
Yes. Yeah. Also, in this bundle, is the Range of Vanguards.
Oh, yeah.
Which, long story short, there was a load of, what could Range of Vanguards possibly be? The answer is they're melee cavalry. For Night's Watch.
Yeah.
Right,
I'm really confused. Like, this isn't the Night's Watch unit that they've been telling us are more defensive than everything else? Are they? Is that them?
I don't know. I think they might supposed to be, but I don't think they are. I think they're just melee cavalry.
Because they were like, veterans aren't defensive. Wait till you see this other unit. Like what? Like, I mean, if it's cavalry, then what? Like, fuck off. I mean, that's not defensive.
Ranger cavalry being defensive. What the fuck? Yeah. Anyway, there you go. Ranger Vanguards are coming out. And then you're also supposed to be, I think, getting Ironborn, Bowman, Reavers, and Reapers There's one of
Ooh,
Reapers. I think the individual
well, I
boxes
mean,
for
okay.
yeah, the individual
I
boxes
haven't
for
seen
Free
them.
Folk. Sorry, Greyjoys are supposed to be coming out.
Fair enough.
They're
Grab
part.
your archers. Grab your archers now,
Yeah,
because everybody needs a second unit of them.
because technically the Q2 wave was the box, and I think it was Iron Makers and Trappers who came out in the initial wave. And now we're
Heroes.
getting and the heroes, yeah. And now we're getting the Bowmen, Reavers, and Reapers, which are all units in the core box anyway, the starter.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Yeah. In theory, if you count the faction packs as one pack, because okay, yes, there's technically 8, but they're one release basically. For 2021, the grand total of 12 other boxes supposed to be coming out within 20 days. In some locations in the UK, we haven't had the second half of Greyjoys. We don't have Greyjoys 1. We don't have Iron Makers.
No,
We
nothing
may
outside of a
receive
Greyjoy starter box.
we may receive those.
No red cloaks.
No Red
No
Cloaks,
hedge knights.
Hedge Knights,
No Kingsmen.
no Kingsmen, no
Or
Queensmen.
we've had one. I feel like we've had one of those.
We
I
might have
forget
had.
which. I always forget. I mean, I always openly admit,
I
like,
think we've had. I think we've
I
had Kingsmen or
I order
Kings.
from Russia, right? Like, I don't have a low. I'm actually, crazily enough, like, I'm actually kind of like glad that I don't have a local store to support, because I would feel incredibly torn about wanting to support this local store and the fact that I know they can't get stock. So I'd probably still want to at least order one of everything from Russia. Anytime war games, right? Everybody, we talk about it very openly here. Like, we're not whatever. If you want to order from Anytime War Games, go for it. If you're in the UK, I really do think it's pretty much the only chance you're going to get to see this stuff in 2021. Like, I really don't think you'll see any of it in 2021. There it is. It's all up for pre-order, including faction packs. If you want faction packs in time for the LGT, this is the only way you're going to get them, guys. So,
Probably.
feel free to go and shove it in order. We are not affiliated with this site in any way, but I have ordered from it multiple times and I've never had any issues. I've always been very happy with receiving from them. For that, I used to order online in the UK and I was very, very happy with that. But that has become significantly harder and harder and harder, as models are simply not arriving in the UK at the moment.
It's really weird. Like, we had the early release of what was it? We had the random early release of recently. I can't remember what it was now, but we had something before America did. Then we just got nothing else. For Yonks. Now there are reasons behind that are 100% out of Simon's control.
Yeah.
There are things like Brexit, which, if you don't think it affects shipping in the UK, it really fucking does. We've got a lot of friends in the logistics trade, and it is massively impacting them. But yeah, it's
and Ursula's right. They are actually offering a really great deal on the combo of the faction pack, and it comes with card backs, like
the
card sleeves, and they're really, really high quality, nice card sleeves. Like, they are that is actually like a mega deal. This isn't them like shoving some sleeves in that you don't want. You should want these sleeves. They're really nice.
I've got Greyjoys and Free Folk. Carlo's got Lannisters and did I give you 2 Baratheons?
Carlo's about to have one of every faction.
Oh, okay.
Carlo's just ordered every faction pack.
Yeah. So yeah, 100%. Like 100%. Like, I think they're going to be great.
And yeah, Tara, how has it come to this? Like, it really has. But so there is a positive, which is, hey, fuckloads of units are coming out really soon. When they arrive on Anytime War Games is when I first believe that these units are actually coming out, and I do believe that they're coming out really soon. This is the first indicators that faction packs will actually arrive for anybody in the world. That's great. If this is a Q3 set of releases, then you know what? Fuck it. Like, that's fucking amazing, guys. Have you seen how many units there are? There's units for everybody. It's fucking good stuff. That's an amazing quarter's worth of release. I'm nervous that it's Q3 and Q4 because they announced it as Q3 stuff, and then there's stuff that they didn't announce in there. And
Yeah.
so
I know Baratheons have just had a bit of a haul as well. Oh, that was the other thing I completely forgot. Of course. How could I possibly forget?
I don't know what this is.
Dawn Watcher obviously coming out. No, there was a leak, not a leak, but a piece of information I saw on a pre-order form. I can't remember what this is, guys. 100%. Someone find this for me. It would be amazing. I will have to go back through and trawl. Highguard and Pikeman was seen on an order form.
Whoa, what?
Yep, Highguard and Pikeman seen on an order form. The Renly side infantry unit.
But not on any time.
Not on any time, but that could be a Q4. So I did see that as well.
Listen, yeah, Martels ain't coming out in Q4, mate. Don't even. Don't get your hopes up. Don't try.
Be interesting if Martels come out in Q4 because
2022. 2022. Yeah.
Be interesting if Martels make 2021 Q4 because I'm 90% sure people who were playtesting would have playtested it. Which means that if they weren't, and they've got new playtesters, but I'm not going to go down that whole route again of like discussing that.
I don't think they do.
But yeah, I don't believe they do. Yeah, Golden Company was in there as well, Carl, as another entrance of being released.
That's true.
Not something
So maybe there's still Q4 stuff.
Maybe there is still
Q4 stuff. All right, I'll be optimistic.
Yeah,
I'll bite for once. I'll get my hopes up again. That's Q3. There's still Golden Company, some Tyrell stuff. God, please give me High Garden Lancers. Please. They will revolutionize the Baratheon faction.
friendly.
And yeah, but they provide a dynamic, like, to the whole faction. Like, I know it's only one side, but anyway. Them, Pikeman, Golden Company, some other things, a bit of this, a bit of that for everybody else. That'd be a fucking great. That'd be a great Q4 to add on top of this being Q3.
Yeah, neutrals really are not feeling the love with Q3 at all. There's nothing for neutrals outside the faction packs, which is actually, I will say, the one thing going for neutrals with the faction packs is they have finally been given a way of getting the tactics deck outside of a heroes box or the core set.
Yeah.
You know, it's way better. 100% fantastic for neutrals. So that's really nice. But yeah, they're not seeing any love whatsoever in this next haul. But Q4 could be really interesting. So massive shout out there, and actually pros to Simon if they can deliver on this promise, deliver on these goods. Then at least we can sit back and say, you know what, they are trying to get this stuff out at a good rate, and maybe they have had problems with production and other things in the early start of this year. Give them the benefit of the doubt. We know that there's a bit of an issue. So yeah, shipping
and neutrals
as well, slightly out there.
Neutrals aren't a faction, but everybody's going to have to go and buy a neutral faction deck. Anybody who ever wants to field a neutral commander needs to go buy one. So they're going to sell. I hope they printed a lot more neutral faction decks than they did the others.
I hope too. Not as a free vote player, I don't give a shit. But you know, I do hope they did that. So that leads us on to. Was this last week? Was it last week? We talked about alternative Jamie. Did we talk about that last week? I can't even remember. The alternative Jamie sculpt?
It feels like a long time ago. It feels like a long time ago. Yeah, I'm sure we talked about alt Jamie.
Sure we did.
Yeah, absolutely.
So now we go back even further. And this was Monday. I'm pretty sure just after Tourney Ground.
Ancient news.
Ancient news. And this is actually broken down into two sections. We have to cover the first one first. The announcement of an event in the US. Called? Carlo, do you want to just introduce it for us?
Well, I think we're going to go with its official title of US Nationals.
Indeed. Indeed.
Or is it NA Nationals? Ooh. Sorry, Canada.
um, this was a good one. I don't have any pictures of the NA Nationals reveal. Because they did. They released it as NA Nationals, and the very first thing that happened is you get the odd person who's like just tagging someone, right? And then I know that Groose and a couple of other players were like, but what about Canada? Because they ain't going. And it got very quickly.
We exist. Do you remember us? You remember? Do you remember everybody outside of the USA?
Hello.
Oh no, you literally did forget about us. Okay, cool. You're gonna change the name. Nice one. Thanks.
So they changed it from NA to be US Nationals. I want to get the first thing out of the way first, obviously. Family Time Games, we've talked with various different people about events at Family Time Games before. They are known to put on good events. People enjoy the events that they run. They've never had a bad word said against the events and things that they've run for Song. Nothing that we are saying is directed at the shop itself, right?
Mm-hmm.
The shop is just happens to be the location. I do have some. Yes, happens is a very loose terminology. I do have some reservations as to why.
The shop is the location of this event.
Yes.
Yeah.
I do have a lot of reservations as to why.
Yeah.
So yeah.
It's in 3 weeks, right? Is it 3 weeks from today?
Literally the first week of September.
So is that 3 weeks from now?
1, 2, 3 weeks would be the 30th. So it's the end of 3 weeks. So if in 4 weeks' time, we'll be talking about the results. Tourney Ground, in theory.
Yeah. All right. That is a problem, right? Everything that we're going to talk and so there are some big problems with this outside of them going, hey, this is NA National Championships. NA is not a nation for a start. So US National Championships makes a lot more sense, especially when Canada basically can't go. But people can't go to this at 4 weeks' notice. Like, to announce any event with 4 weeks and expect anybody more than local people to turn up is really, really crazy. And for them to have chosen to announce a national event with only 4 weeks notice is like, didn't you learn from last time? Didn't they do that last time, basically? So there was an event at PAX Unplugged, right?
Yeah.
A convention, and then just with no notice, they were like, oh, by the way, that's nationals. And everyone was like, what? Why is that nationals? And it turned out to be something like a 16-person event with nobody of particular note attending the event. Nobody that in the community that anybody had heard of. And it was won by Ron from Mythico Studios, who is just not a known competitive tournament player, like not for Song. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, so it devalues the title when you just say at the last minute, oh, by the way, whoever wins this small event, there are bigger events being run all over the place continuously with higher quality players, but this small event, that one's nationals. And so yeah, like I think it's a crazy decision to announce nationals at such short notice. Like, I'm really, really unhappy with that in general. And I think a lot of other people in the US are unhappy with that. And all I'll say to that is I've been saying publicly and privately to people who've discussed it with me for a while in the US, lots of people have been telling me, like, in the US, they've been saying, organized play, it's great, look at it, it's coming back, the game's coming back, it's doing these things. And I've constantly been saying, you're just like on the inside right now. You're feeling the effects, the good effects of when you're on the right side of Simon's crazily short-minded decisions. Everybody outside of the NA, Canada, Europe, Asia, Australia, they're all playing the game and they all hate organized play because it's doing nothing for them, and not just doing nothing, it's making them feel like they're second rate, making them feel like they're unappreciated, despite the fact that they have really big communities and really big thriving tournament scenes. And you're saying America's more important to us.
Yeah.
And now this is exactly the same thing. They're now all on the outside, and they've said this store and this one community are more important to us. And we've decided to work with them and only them to put on nationals, despite having outright told other players organized play will not come back until 2022.
There was the Back to Play, which is a form of organized play initiative. The Back to Play events where they've been providing some prize support and things like that. The GT's involved somewhat with that. The Italian National Championship, actually a massive shout out to those guys. They finally got recognition from the EU version of the same thing. They're going to get some prize support. The Spanish national event had some prize support. It wasn't even Spanish national. It was just a standard little Spanish event. Got some prize support from that. That's where we first saw Red Cloaks many moons ago. But this is organized play. This is organized play event. This isn't a Black to Play event.
Nationals is organized play, an event which supposedly is being run by Simon.
Yeah. I'm sorry, but and this is where I will sound a bit negative about the situation. I'm not involved in this. I have no reason to be that angry. It actually doesn't impact me whatsoever. But if I was a player,
I mean, like, we're not going to the US Nationals, no matter. No. Give us 6 months. Give us 6 months notice. We're not going to the US Nationals. No. Do you know what I mean? Like,
wouldn't be legally allowed back in the UK.
Yeah.
So the big thing is not that this bothers us. The big thing is that I'm going to the London GT in a month. Call it 2 months. It's not quite 2 months. It's like a month and 3 weeks kind of thing. I'm going down to the London GT, and I've booked my holidays in. My holidays haven't even been confirmed yet, but I've booked holidays in. I'm sorting out accommodation. I'm sorting out travel. I'm getting prepared for that. Now, is that a big event? Yeah, this is one of the biggest events I have been to or will go to for Song. Do I expect it to be good? I expect it to be okay. I happen to know the organisers quite well. That helps. But do I go there with the knowledge that that event means something? Yeah, it does. Like, if the winner of the London GT, like, okay, it might be Night's Watch. Okay, there's a bit of a caveat because of balance. But going along and playing at the top couple of tables in the London GT is actually a thing that matters and is important within the competitive realms. Not ego boosting, nothing with that. It's literally, can you play the best of the best on the tabletop in the UK? And there's going to be people coming from overseas to come and play. That, that's great. People like Bloodraven has tried to organise to come over. Furioku, people like that. That is why I want to go and play the LGT. And we've been organising it. It has been in the organisational pipeline for the best part of 2 to 3 months already, in terms of actual getting it out there as...
I mean, technically, it's been getting organised for the past year and a half.
Yeah, but like publicly
it's been
organized.
Announced, and you can, like, people have been able to organize their lives around it for the past 3 months, and there's still 2 months, month and a half to go, and a month and a half feels short. Like right now, it feels a very short amount of time. People need to be absolutely 100% geared up to be ready for this event. If you going to the LGT and you haven't booked your accommodation yet, you haven't booked your travel, do it now. There is not much time left. If I told you that I'm organizing a tournament and I'm launching it in 3 weeks' time, I'd be like, what? How the fuck are you supposed to organize travel for that?
And we live in the UK, where even if you drove the maximum distance that is reasonable to drive in the UK, like even going down from Edinburgh or Glasgow, you could probably get a train the night before, and it would take you like 3 hours.
Yeah.
But you could drive for 6.
Yeah.
Like we live in a place where traveling in the country is like the equivalent to traveling in one state in the US. If anything, this is an Indiana state championship.
Yes. Yeah. I'll be really surprised if it breaks 20 people, right? I will be way more surprised if it's bigger or stronger field than the Sunday Slaughter Gamers Haven event that is happening within the same month, basically.
A couple of
Within
weeks,
like,
like the
yeah,
week after or
Gamers
the week.
Haven happens next weekend, I think. Well, in 2 weeks. In 2 weeks' time, Gamers Haven is happening, and then 2 weeks after that, Nationals will happen.
Do you know what's really
I
funny?
will be in. Yep.
You know what happens 2 weeks after that?
Is
Gen
it
Con.
LGT? Oh, Gen Con. Which is or isn't, I don't know if I really don't understand whether or not Gen Con has an event this year or not. I haven't seen anything. I
Gen Con
genuinely
has an
don't know.
event, but it's not at
Yeah.
Gen Con. I'm confused by this. American system seems to be very different to the UK system. It's going to be an event at Gen Con, but it's not actually part of Gen Con. It's just at Gen Con. So there's
Yeah.
private rental areas you can have, and they've rented a bunch of tables out. They're going to run an event there, but it's not actually part of Gen Con as the whole event. It's not a this is the A Song of Ice and Fire tournament of Gen Con. Um,
Yeah.
it's A
I,
Song of Ice and Fire tournament at Gen Con.
yeah. I do super hope that the tournament is big. Like I do I want the US national champion, like this is where the frustration comes from. I want the US national championships to be an event that we talk about, everybody talks about, that the winner of it, everybody's like, oh, what a fucking great title. That guy, what a champ. He's taken on really good players. That's the best player in the US. We all know that the best players came and they threw down and one person emerged victorious. I don't want there to be a title ascribed to an event which is no bigger or better than anybody else's events, and for it to be given more importance.
Yeah,
And that, I think, is a really big issue. And I hate that Simon have gotten involved and not just made a convention suddenly out of nowhere be nationals, but they've made an actual particular store's event more important than everybody else's. That says your store and your community is more important than everybody else's store and community. And you get to call yourself national champion because you could turn up on the day. Now, I really, really genuinely, I want to be wrong. I want to be wrong. I want there to be a 64-person event. It says it can be 64 people. I want there to be a 64-person event. I want the winner of this to be undisputedly the best player in the US, but I really don't think it's going to happen. I like just because you cannot expect that with a 4-week announcement. You
especially not in
cannot
today's
get
environment.
people.
Especially
No,
not today with COVID, right? You cannot do that. It's just simply not feasible.
forget COVID. You couldn't make it anyway.
Yeah.
Add COVID, add COVID, and it's an absolute nightmare. And it's it's crazy. Like, why? Who chose? Again, we're back to like, who fucking thought this was a good idea? Who thought that like just like championing and one small part of the community would make you're making 10 people happy to piss off the 1,000 of the members of this community.
The last thing I wanted to say, which is a bit controversial perhaps, is that what I really appreciate with this is that there was a clear, consistent, and outlined way of applying. It wasn't just given to their. Oh no, wait, hang on. It was just given to their mates. That's not even a lie at this point, right? It was handed to a store which is known to have links with Simon. No other store in the country, in the whole of the US, gave us Haven. Gamers Haven couldn't say we wanted to run US Nationals. This is an event that's already got 26 people signed up to their event a couple of weeks'
Yeah.
time. Like, you know, where was the application process? Where was the tenure process? Like, you have tenure for these kind of things. You put out contracts, whatever, right? You run. We want to run this. Who's got the best venue? Who's got the? No, they just went. You. We're gonna run there. You. And people involved in that store are heavily involved with Simon. To the point where people at that store might as well be paid by Simon.
Mhm.
And I think it's very, without necessarily realizing it, I think it is horrifically mates rates, backdoor access, and it's very disingenuous to the rest of the community because they say they care and actually they don't give a toss, because it's exactly what we see in other places. People complain about this
Yeah.
exact thing, cronyism
Which,
in politics.
which is really sad because, like, I really just wish that we were just saying there's a Family Time Games event. It's happening in 4 weeks. Get down there, guys. It's going to be great. It's going to be really, you know what I mean? Like, I wish it didn't. Why does it have to have all this hangover of like of like why is it being assigned this different thing? Like, why is it different? Who chose to make this different? And like,
Do you know what?
why do you have to keep on saying you're important? You being the USA, you being a store, you being this region, you being this. Why do they have to be important and everybody else has to just watch from the outside and say, so I'm not important then? You know, like, we're running a 64-person event in the UK. Why didn't you come along and say, hey guys, call it UK Nationals? You know, like, send us like just a trophy. Send us a trophy from Simon and we'll give it out. And you know what? It would have been fucking amazing. Do you know what I mean? Like, yeah, mate, we've been talking to them we told them about this event 6 months ago. They couldn't possibly need more time to say, yeah, you know what? Yeah, that's a really good idea. You know, run it, call it nationals, do whatever. And again, like, it's at a neutral place. It's at a convention. It doesn't. We personally have been very, very, very strict with ourselves that we will not raise any of the UK stores above any of the others. We will not alienate any part of the UK community. We will not advertise for any given UK store. We will not say you should affiliate with this UK store. They've provided us with support. You know, like, you don't treat the community unequally. We want people from every part of the UK community to be there, and Europe if you can make it. You know, you've had 6 months to be able to decide if you can make it. COVID still makes that really hard, you know, but you've got a chance with 6 months out to see what's going on, make your plans, take your own decisions on that. But to say, like, to say, oh, we've got this event, it's happening in 4 weeks, we couldn't possibly announce it before now because of COVID, is like,
Bollocks. Literal
people would
bollocks.
have
It's literally a
understood.
lie.
People would have understood if COVID lockdowns prevented an event from going ahead. That's happened multiple times before. People are fine with it. That's cool. That's something that we've all come to live with. If not, you give people enough time to make their own personal choices about whether or not this is an event they want to go to.
Like, saying it's a month out for organizational purposes is literal bollocks. And we've got evidential proof of that. Like, in the London GT. Like, it's just.
I still hope that it's great. God, I'm just coming. Please be good. Please be good. Please don't be an embarrassment to our game. Please don't be a less than 16-person event. Like,
Even less. You know what?
If that's your nationals, like, you know, like, then God help us.
If they make it to 32,
also,
I'll be impressed. If they make it to 32, I'll be impressed.
yeah, I will be.
You know, and it will be okay for a 32-man event to go ahead. It's, you know, it's not the most amazing event ever. It's certainly not a real achievement by any stretch across the whole country of the US. Certainly, massive population, huge amount of players. But it's fine if it's a 32-person event and there's a winner, and yeah, that person deserves a title, perhaps. You know,
yeah,
fine. 64. I mean, really, I really wish them well at getting to 64. It doesn't like they're anywhere close to that. But if it does get that high, it'll be amazing. If it's not, if, as you say, if it's a 20-man event, just call it an indie get back to play event. Have Seam on there, whatever, but don't stress over this kind of like,
yeah. And
this
so this is the
national
thing, right?
winner.
They're calling it nationals because Simon are going to turn up.
Yeah.
Simon are going to turn up. So please don't be an embarrassment at an event. Please be worthwhile so that when they turn up, they go, holy shit, people love this game. We should support this game. And they look at it and they go, holy shit, people love organized play. They love tournaments. They love us being involved in tournaments and officially running tournaments for them. They fucking love this stuff. You know what? hey, let's roll it out to Canada. Let's roll it out to the UK, Europe, Asia, Australia. Let's roll it out. This game is loved. People love competitive play. People love organized play because they fucking do. Look at every successful game. It has it, right? Every successful game has it. If they turn up and it's like, hey, this is like 10 local people and a couple of people who came up from out of town, they're going to think, why do we bother? Like, shall we? I mean, all right. Let's put one in for the next year's calendar. Hopefully it'll be bigger, but sure. All right. All that stuff that we were doing on organized play, probably put that on the back burner because it seems like nobody's really interested in it. Like we've been sending out all this support and we can't even get more than 20 people to an event. So why do we, so it's like, please just, it deserves to be better. It deserves to be organized at more than 4 weeks notice.
It's such a shame that there are communities in the US that we have quite strong links to because we know people involved in them, and it's kind of sad to see those communities completely overlooked and ignored. Um, that can run events. Carl Kirsten over in California has been running some leagues and style stuff and some events over there, and he's got some really good feedback. He's had some problems with like bans and things to do to keep people involved and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what? Like the guy's running events and he's getting like 20 or 30 people coming along to this stuff and getting involved in these games. Like he's doing a great job. The guys at Sunday Slaughter are doing a fantastic job still. Chris and Charles and Bob, Max, the lot of them are running events, doing things in the store and the game place they've got, and people enjoy it. People are turning up. They're getting players playing the game still. Even guys over on the East Coast, some of the communities over there I know have been kicking back off and getting plays, which is great.
I think LVO. I know it's in 2022, but LVO would have been such a perfect kickoff.
Oh my god, it would have been amazing.
It's a neutral convention.
Yep.
2022, which is when you said you were going to do organized play,
and it's going to be a big event. In theory, it's going to be a massive event.
Big event. Lots of really strong Canadian players are coming over for it. You can call it NA Nationals. You can call it NA Championships. You can showcase the game as a competitive game in front of 1,040k players who are jaded as fuck with their game. You can grow your own community instead of holding it hidden away by itself in a store. It's just so many wins. If you make your game big, exciting, and involved, great support, loads of prizes in front of bigger communities. I just still think that they have such a small mindset for this game. They're so board game orientated. They're so Kickstarter orientated that they don't understand what's in front of them. They don't understand the community that they have and how to interact with war games at all. They don't understand how untapped the potential of this is and how to tap it.
They need a load of British people involved, and I'm not saying that as like a company that British people, because British people are amazing, but they need a lot of the design and like support systems that like GW and all the various different games companies in the UK have had, even some of the German stuff as well. Because man, like these people in the UK, people in Germany, they know how to run war games. That's the thing. Like we can argue about balance all day, we can argue about updates all bloody day. But that's
it doesn't matter.
Doesn't fucking matter. They know how to run a war game, and they know how to do balance, and they know how to do FAQs, and they know how to do all this stuff on a limited budget and in a timely manner. Like they've done it for years. Okay, they've not produced the best games in the world, but bloody hell, they've managed them well.
Imagine if you had a great game like this and then managed it well.
That's 1990s GW. That is, isn't it? Great games like Mordheim and then just kick them to the curb because you're an idiot.
Yeah.
This is the thing. They're 30 years behind.
Yeah, they are.
That's a shame.
Sad.
It's a shame. Is that all the news?
I don't know. I feel like
I'm pretty sure that's all the news. If we haven't got all the news
I think it is.
done in the first hour and a half of Tourney Ground, please let us know.
To be honest, that's no longer than we normally spend talking about the news anyway.
That was just my mind.
We
That was
are,
just the intro.
we're just newscasters these days, Mickey. We just chat shit about what's been going on.
Hang on,
That's how you
where's me?
keep up to date with the ins and outs.
This is
Who
the
needs to
7 o'clock
read
news.
Discord and Facebook when Carlo and Mickey will read out the posts for you word for word?
I know, right? So we will move into tournaments. Let's hope this doesn't break immediately. No, it didn't. Fantastic. So we've had some events run over the weekend. Some things went on. NRG number 2 is basically over for this week. I need to check.
Bob's turned up.
Bob has turned up.
He won. He won. There was a second game that was unplayed though. Deoxys. Is Deoxys versus Claw maybe off the top of my head?
Yeah, I believe so. I'll just double check the rounds.
No, see.
Claw Deoxys.
Claw Deoxys unplayed.
I will get onto them about that.
No live draw. Sorry, guys.
I'll draw the game mode. Sod it. Oh, yeah, I'll have to draw the game mode, but not the damn thing. Okay. Yep, so we've got Claw Deoxys left to play, but the other rounds, the other games were all played as well. So let's have a look at the other games. We just had... let's
have a look at the table. Let's have a look at the table.
Right.
See where we're at.
Let's have a look at the table. Okay. So we currently see Shimai, Night's Watch against Bob, Night's Watch. Crag up there with his Starks.
Crag.
Big man.
Big man.
Big man.
There's 2 crushing wins with Starks. That's good stuff.
Look at who we played. Played against a Targaryen in a 12-7.
MOD.
And then, an 8-6... A 6-8 win by crushing over ones.
Yeah. I did see D1 Ring talking about that result. I did see him talking about how he's winning the game, but he gets wiped out.
I think it came down to the last round, and he got wiped out in the last round. We see Tom Tyler up there. Winter's coming. Yeah, he's just pushing through Drogo and Daenerys with Targaryens. Masara with his Baratheons still up there. 2 crushings for him. He took a Night's Watch.
Man.
Oh yeah, he wiped out. He wiped out Night's Watch.
Wiped out Corin. Woo-wee.
It's a double hunter, no watch captain list. The one he ran. So
right.
Taylor with a bit of pinch of salt. It is and Corin will freely admit that Peter, I've spoken to him many times, is very much a suboptimal list. He doesn't enjoy running the ridiculous stuff. One of those casualties of NPE, right?
Yeah.
Bloodraven's up there with a double win for Lannister. Then you got Groose, big man Groose, running his set of Targaryen lists. No Mother Dragons.
No
up to double wins. Spleen doing it with Starks as well. No double crushing.
Cool.
Cutting it close.
And one of Deoxys or Claw, right? They both lost.
Yeah,
they both lost.
Claws are both out. Effectively out of the event.
So that's our runners and riders to still win the event overall.
Yep. It's Night's Watch, although they're going to be mirroring, so that'll be out. Stark, Targaryen, Baratheon, Lannister, Targaryen, Stark. So Targaryens, Starks.
It's actually a surprisingly good mix.
No free folk.
Yeah, I mean.
All right, calm down.
Whatever.
No. I was going to say no neutrals. No Greyjoys.
I mean, it's not for Night's Watch, right? Let's just be glad of that bit.
But we've already had 2 Night's Watch mirrors, I think, in the event so far. And this will mean this is the last one. It just so happens, irony, that there will only be 1 Night's Watch player in the 3rd round undefeated, partially due to random luck and partially due to Bloodraven, who I think knocked out a Night's Watch player, as well as Masara, obviously.
I always rave about Bloodraven. He took out WAP in a Lannister mirror in the last round.
He beat him, which was a very interesting game to watch. Well, an odd game to watch. We watched it, didn't we, live?
Oh, that's interesting.
Very
Yeah, and
odd.
Gruce says no Greyjoys, but
Yep.
Greyjoys were a very popular selection. There were a lot of Greyjoys, so that's not down to
Lack of numbers.
lack of trying,
No.
lack of entries.
All right then. All right. Yeah, and it is indeed the Polish team, Team Poof, who are proving it, or members of Team Poof in the past, proving their mettle. This takes us on to round 3. I am gonna have to draw it, aren't I? Not the actual round, but the game
I
mode.
was going to say, yeah, you're going to need a
Prepare
live
for
game
lag.
mode.
Prepare for lag, because it always lags slightly when I load up TTS. So,
Is a Stark still going to win? Sorry, Night's Watch. There's only going to be one Night's Watch going into what is the semi-finals. We're already in the quarter-finals, right? There's
it's
8 undefeated players.
how many rounds?
It'll
Is
go
it?
to
4?
4, 2, 1. Yeah, there's 3 rounds left.
3 rounds left. Yeah.
So there's 2 of them mirroring, presumably. Unless something odd is going on with the pairings, based on somebody not being able to replay each other.
Yeah, it's not possible because of all the.
So, on Night's Watch, you're going to win.
Versus Bob. We'll see. I don't know if Shamai beats Bob or Bob beats Shamai.
Without knowing the mode, I pick Night's Watch Targs in the Targ Stark matchup. Barra versus Lanny.
I reckon Blood
I'm
Rain.
gonna go. Yeah, I'm gonna go Lanny, and that leaves us Starks versus
Stark Targ.
Stark Targ again. 2 Stark Targ matchups, but that one doesn't have MOD. See, now I think the Starks, particularly if they have hardened spam, could actually be a right arse for Targaryens non-MOD to get through.
Double Mormont there. No Mormont in the second list.
What does he run a dragon?
Bruce. Bruce, do you run a dragon,
Yeah.
mate? I think you do, don't you? Yeah, he runs double dragon in his Drogo list, and he runs no dragons in his draw. I think that
All right,
depends.
I'm going Bruce.
I think it depends on the game mode. Actually, I think that one's probably
Yeah.
quite game mode heavy.
Yeah.
I don't want to say too much because we'll ruin him, and he'll be like, Bruce will be like,
I'm
"Oh,
gonna
you
go
told me it was
2
game mode
Targs,
heavy." And
a Night's Watch, and a Lanny in the semis.
yep. Okay. So that's just the one event. That's NRG. We will do the draw before we leave NRG. There are other events to discuss though, because there were some other things that went on over the weekend, which is great on the site. We'll talk about those in a minute. We'll talk about what was kind of went on, how people used it, this kind of thing in a second. But yeah, NRG is going well. We still need to sort some things out in the background. But yeah, NRG is going fine. It's definitely introduced a couple of interesting questions for rules, which
The chat are desperate for the game mode.
I know they are. They really want the game mode. What's the game mode? What's the game mode? There's my game loaded. It has loaded. Right. Cool. In hindsight, I should probably
you
preload
can
this.
quit. You can quit delaying. You can quit delaying. We're talking around the subject.
So we
Get the mode up.
played Honed and Ready. We've played
Clash. Was it Clash first week?
Clash. Played Honed and Ready first week. No, Dance and Dragons. We haven't played Honed and Ready. And Winds of Winter, that was it. Winds of Winter's out, and Dance and Dragons. Absolute classic. Out.
No, I think I wanted it to be Clash so that you had to answer all the questions about Clash.
That was it, right? That was it. So, let's make sure that's good. Let's turn on me. Ciao. It'll sort us out in a second. There we go. Cool. So we've got left in the pool Fire and Blood, Honed and Ready, Dark Wings, Dark Words, Game of Thrones, Feast of Crows, A Clash of Kings. I can't remember if I decided if I was going to take Here We Stand out or not, but I think I did decide we just weren't going to play Here We Stand. I can't remember. Sod it. I'm not going to put it in. Shit.
It might come back next week, guys.
I'm
when
the
Mickey
TO.
changes his mind.
I'm the TO. I decided. I can't actually remember if I took it out or not, and I don't think anyone wants to play the game mode.
God, who enters this bloody event?
I know, right? Who actually
Who pays to play in these bloody tournaments?
I know, right? I'm the TO. Do what I say. That's how it works, right? I'm Simon. No, wait, hang on. So two more shuffles. So good luck. Just while we wait, anyone saying which ones they want? They want.
No,
No
they're
one's
just
saying what
saying
they want.
what's not allowed to be
Yeah.
played.
So let's go. Before I
Nobody's
flip this,
got any bets. Nobody's got any hopes and dreams.
you want Clash
Here
still,
we
don't
go.
you?
I still want Clash. Yeah.
Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones. So Game of Thrones will be the round 3 game mode.
Don't know if I like Bruce into Starks anymore. I'd have to look closely at his lists. I'm just gonna back the stats and say Targs are better than Starks.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
2 Targs, 1 Night's Watch, 1 Lanny.
okay, Game of Thrones it is. Game of Thrones it is for round 3. Now Claw and Deoxys are totally going to play and be like, oh, now that I know it's Game of Thrones next, I can choose where I come in the ranking. No, no one does that. So, which actually, that's interesting that we said that. No one does that.
Yeah.
It's a discussion point, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, we can do. Yeah.
Just
yeah,
quick,
yeah.
just
Well,
quick. Gamma has been frequenting the 40k series of events, and he's been watching a player who was manipulating the results of his games, as in, when I say that,
scoring lower than he could have scored purposefully.
yeah. What do you think about it, Carlo?
To deflate his position in the rankings while maintaining wins so that he's paired against lower players.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think I don't care. Like, not as in. You know what? I just think it's a risky strategy. Like, you're effectively taking less secondary points. If you don't win every single one of your games, then you're just going to end up way lower down the table.
Yeah.
You know, because you're gonna be in with people who have a 4-1 record, of which there are many, and you will have purposefully chosen to have bad secondaries.
I know people who've done it in reverse. They've lost the first game of an event to get into the bottom half of the event to then submarine into second. Like, I've seen that happen.
Yeah.
That was actually a discussion point last year with an online event.
Yeah, but I mean, so Weasel's saying, oh, it's specifically to like so that he doesn't get paired with certain lists. But how do you know? How do you know that they're definitely going to be at the top of the table? Like, you could quite easily be trying to like reduce your score so that I mean, I don't know the exact situation. Maybe those scores are already locked in. You already know that those people won like 100-0, and you're trying not to also win 100-0. But if the games are going on at the same time, then I'm thinking, well, that's just a huge risk that you're taking for a very small amount of gain. And also, it seems to be that like he intended to play them he has to play these players, but he wants to play them later in the tournament when the game mode is different. Well, that's part of the problem of announcing every game mode at the start, that people know and they can then try and weave their way particularly through it. But going back to a little bit, like, like I always didn't have much time, Mickey, for when you were complaining about the way some TSL teams kind of conducted themselves.
Yeah.
In terms of like they had done so much research and you felt that they were manipulating in a similar way. You felt like they were manipulating the system.
Yeah.
It shows that the system is manipulatable, which is probably a problem with the system. But to me, I just say, if they want to put that effort in, fair play. To me, if that player wants to do so much research that he's convinced that he is better off doing less well because he's so sure that he doesn't want certain matchups and he wants to manipulate the system to where he ends up, to me, my first answer is fair enough. He's done the work. He knows what he wants to play against, and he's gonna find a way to do it. And if you give him a way, he will find a way.
Yeah.
And in the same way that I talk about balance, it's not the player's fault for exploiting balance.
No.
It is Simon's fault for allowing it to happen when they created the game.
Yep.
And in the same way, if when you run a tournament, if you create obvious ways to manipulate the pairings, then
You can't
don't be
complain.
pissed off when somebody like exploits what you've created.
Yeah. No,
Just learn from it and do better next time.
I completely agree. I think what was frustrating was seeing it happen and not being able to do anything about it. From a manipulative standpoint, it was like, I can see this happening. I know what's going to happen here. I know why this is being done, but we have no control over that. And not being able to do it ourselves as well. Like literally, it was not possible for us to do it ourselves. And that's just frustrating.
Yeah. But like I'm saying, it just like
100%.
smacks of that to me. Like, and at the time, I was just like, "Suck it up, mate." They did like,
No, I
they
agree.
found.
I agree.
My answer is always they found a way to manipulate the system. You're just annoyed that you didn't know how to do it or you weren't willing to do it. But never be.
It's the system's fault.
I'm like,
it's the system's fault.
Yeah, exactly.
100%.
Take your anger out on the system, not on the player.
100%. I agree. It's the system's fault. Like in all cases. But yeah.
And NRG Simon's prescribed Swiss that's being used in NRG is not an infallible system, particularly here where you can openly see the results of other people's games and they're run over a 1 week period. You could walk in and say, you know what, I don't want a crushing win because I'm going to have to play Night's Watch. You can do that if that's what you want to do, in my opinion. Like, really?
Yep.
And who are we to referee that? How are we to say, oh God, look, you only got a standard victory. You definitely should have got a crushing victory there.
I agree completely. What is funny though, and this is where the event kind of self-levels. God, if you lose that event and you lose that game later on after manipulating it, you ain't winning best in faction now, boy, because you just burn a load of secondary points.
Exactly.
So there are incentives. But yeah, no, I agree. I do agree.
Exactly. You just got to incentivize everything you can. And yeah, Greg, don't hate the player, hate the game.
True. Don't hate the player, hate the game. So, Carlo, some actual events that happened in the UK. Dun 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 dun. Because you were at one in Liverpool, weren't you?
I was one in Liverpool, just play.
Yep. How'd it go?
There was also friendlies in Swindon.
Friendlies in Swindon. Yeah. Talk about that one. Ben at friendlies in Swindon. He got 8 players showed up. 7 players showed up. One person had to leave, unfortunately. And then so he sat out on the first game, and then he had problems with things at home with family. So he had to go home as well, leaving just 6 players left to play games. And as the actual TO of the event, Ben forgot to put the rest of the results in, or didn't basically put the rest of the results in. But I do believe that they did play.
Almost run, sort of.
It almost ran. But yeah, I mean, that's just the way it is. There's nothing you can do about that. That is the way that they were running the event anyway. It was never really a tournament anyway. It was just a set of games for them to play. But yeah, no, they used it, said it was really good. So that's good.
And stats have just been used as a way to promote the event. And, like, obviously, if you're going to use stats to promote your event, I'm so happy about that. Like, that's what it's for. That's what the map's there for. So you can see a little red dot appear on the map close to you and you're like, oh, whoa, there's an event. And that they signed up on the site, that they used the site at all, is all I'd ever ask. Do you know what I mean? Like, if you... I'm never hugely pleased if somebody uses it to promote their event, but then doesn't use it to run their event. But, like, if you have to, then you know what? If you want to promote your event and you can't get your players to do it, then sure, still just stick it on there. Love to see events. Love people using the site to help grow their communities in whatever way. So always happy for that.
A lot of the Highlander events kicked off. Ben in chat there, who wants me to run their next event? Well, there you go. Not us right now, Ben, because it's a long way for you if you run an event in North. You can try if you want. It's a long way to come though. Highlander events and things have all kicked off. The games of those have been happening, so that's great. Spot on. There's also an ELO Cup in Finland. They're using. Actually, I believe if I'm right in saying this, the that tournament there is run by what's his name? As soon as I say it, I'll remember, and it will Timo, right? On the
Could be, yeah,
yeah, it's run by Timu on the Facebook group, and they've got 9 players playing an event
yeah.
in Finland. So if you are based in and around that area, let's actually just quickly check it out. If you are based in and around that area, cool art by the way, in Helsinki, in
Yeah.
Sweden,
I
Finland.
believe it's playing right over the month, so
Yeah,
I think people just come play their games on a 1 week period kind of thing. It's looking good.
yeah. There's no Night's Watch, and only one free folk by the looks of it. But yeah, people playing games, and people playing games is good. And there's some names on there that I recommend, recognize. I'll get that.
Yeah.
But it's just nice to see people using the site from other places, So
Yeah.
thumbs up to the Finnish community. Love it. We also had the game you were at, obviously Just Play. We'll go through their results just quickly. It was a 12-man event.
So let's go and ascribe more importance to this event than it deserves.
Not really. It's a 12-person
No,
event in Liverpool, won by Colco, who also won an event in the UK earlier in the year.
Only about a month earlier, I think.
Yes.
Board Brum must
Yep.
have happened about a month ago, 2 months ago.
Double awful.
Double awful.
And we see in
don't worry. All of his club gave him shit for it. So
we see Steven Psycho Steve. He's in often frequents these later on or is hanging around. He went third with Drogo and Mother Dragons. Aaron Taylor, Midnight. He's one of the guys that runs Dead Meta Gaming. He went double Targ Mother Dragons. Strangely enough, did well. And we see a free folk, Brian McGonigal.
Yeah.
He does a lot of like battle report style, picture style like reports, and he writes them on like a blog. Do check them out. They're actually really, of all the blog style written battle reports, his are very detailed. Still think he assigns importance to like dice rolls and things that probably don't matter, but they are well written. They're very interesting. They're very like in depth. And then Carlo, he lost 2 games.
There's me. Yeah, it was an interesting event. So basically there was just 6 guys from Just Play, which is the Liverpool store. The Liverpool that's most of their community. I think they get up to 8 maybe about on their best days. And then there was 5 guys from Dead Meta Gaming who'd all come over from Redcar. And then there was me making up 12. So just there, totally unassociated with everybody else. It was a really good event. I think there was pretty good standard of play. I think that the Just Play guys are really, really good players. I opened the tournament with a rematch against Psycho Steve's Mother of Dragons. This time I had brought a list specifically to fight Mother of Dragons. A Gregor list this time. Flayed Men, Stormcrow Archers. I did kind of want the Flayed Men to be Hedge Knights, but they weren't ready in time to be fully painted. I'm still sticking with absolutely playing 100% fully painted. So I have a specific Night's Watch counter list, a specific Mother of Dragons counter list. The anti-Night's Watch one did me very, very well up in the last tournament. And I opened with my Mother of Dragons counter list. It performed okay. I'm pretty happy with how I played. And Steve played really, really well. Into Fire and Blood, I still feel like it was an uphill struggle for me. And he took the win. Very deservedly. I think I played fine. I didn't throw that game in any way. And I think I was so shell-shocked from having lost my first game. Absolutely reeling. I basically I didn't play very well next game at all, and I lost my second one straight away after it. I still had a lot on my mind on about like whether or not the other list needs changing and what it can do to beat Mother of Dragons. Really don't get to play a lot. So not a good tournament for me. 2 losses, and then took some wins at the end of the event to kind of salvage it. But yeah, I was
your first 2 losses in the UK tournament scene.
Yeah, I mean, Steve might not know. Steve might not know, but like I say, I was reeling from that loss. That's the first time I'd ever lost a tournament game. So fair play. And it was really, really good. He played really, really well. And my opponent's second round played really well too. But like I missed some really big triggers. I was very distracted that game. I felt absolutely I had lots of opportunities to win the second game. I mean, against the faction like Baratheons, you always will. I just think that they're not powerful enough to dominate the game. He played really, really well though, and I missed some big moments, particularly like a huge Himi Raw play. I like looked at my hand after it happened and I just thought, shit. That would have killed that unit, and I was just like, what am I doing? So kind of resettled myself for the rest of the tournament. But Kolko went on to win with Othel, lots of Mother Dragons up the top, lots of really good play, lots of great lists.
Cool.
And see, oh yeah, there you go. I did. There's the just play, guys. I did take home the pity prize of best painted. So joint best painted. And yeah, Craig's absolutely right. I basically tilted. I couldn't believe I'd lost, even though I knew I was likely to lose to Mother of Dragons, and really took it into a double loss.
I should have been there, because when Carlo loses, he tends to get super angry and sad. And usually what he does is he takes that anger and sadness out on somebody else. This is speaking from having played team events with tournament Carlo before. This is genuinely what he does. He goes off in a bit of a huff, and then he comes back storming around and goes, right, we're going to be so much better.
Yeah, I mean, basically, the people I played in the third and fourth round definitely felt that end of it. The third and fourth round, they were like 10-0 wins, basically. I gave 0 quarter. Yeah, I really enjoyed the event, and the store is absolutely brilliant. Like, I mean, I've been there before, been downstairs, but they have a really good section upstairs, and just run by really great guys who really understand the community, what it takes to grow a community, to support a community. So I hope to see some of them in Swindon. Maybe I know at least one of the group, Gregors, is going to be over in the Swindon, and I hope that some more will come. And I think maybe some of the Dead Meta Gaming guys, Aaron's in chat now. Hope that they're maybe going to come as well to Swindon. That'd be really good. Probably be a similar size event, maybe a little bit bigger if some more people sign up at the last minute. All right, I'm gonna get ahead of you here, Mickey. Are you going to come to Swindon? Rather than you asking me 2 days before, am I going to Swindon?
I legitimately don't know when these things are. My calendar is just filled up.
2 weeks. 2 weeks on Sunday.
So not this week, the week after. Hang on. What? Give me the date. Give me the actual date. Hang on. You know the date off the top of your head?
22nd. Sunday the 22nd, off the top of my head.
Sunday the 22nd.
I think there's a lot of events going on that day.
Sunday the 22nd?
Sunday Slaughters, Game of Haven's going ahead that day. Swindon's going ahead that day. I think there's another decent size event going ahead that day.
Sunday the 22nd sounds fine. I'll have to double check it. But yeah.
You heard it here first.
So
Mickey may or may not turn up to Swindon.
Obviously, with my partner starting her job, it means that I have to be aware of when she's working, so I don't leave the dog alone, because she's not great alone for long periods of time. So I just have to be a bit aware of that. That's all. But yeah, I'm sure that'll be fine.
But there's a huge amount of personal experience making showing way more importance than stats there. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
I do feel like I felt a little bit out of my depth at times. You know, like in terms of like I've
Lincoln.
just a lot of the sorry, yeah, Lincoln. I meant Lincoln, not Swindon.
If I said Swindon. Too caught up in Ben. Ben, he's talked about Swindon loads. Come over to Lincoln. Yeah, but anyway.
I really feel like I've not been able to play against as many different factions as I would like. Puts me on the back foot in a few tournament games. Always second, like a bit slower than I want to be on knowing their triggers. Don't know as much about the game. Some people will take the piss out of me, like in that, you know, what I said what I said very openly in NRG the other day is if you want to be better, you just need to know the game better. You need to know your opponent's lists better. You need to know their factions and all this stuff better. That will make you a better player. And absolutely, I felt that at the weekend that I just I don't know enough about Mother of Dragons. I haven't had enough chances to play into it. I think I can make some changes. I'm well on the bus now for all those people who told me to play against Mother Dragons, you need 2 units of cavalry. That's my opinion. Cavalry about the only thing that do anything against Mother Dragons when Mother Dragons is played well. So yeah, I'm on that bus, still learning, still improving. Not that I've got any big events to work towards though, because no LGT for me.
Cool. Awesome. Now, obviously, all the other events we've mentioned before, all best of luck to all the events running over the next couple of weeks. Things like the one happening in Thailand. That's great.
You just skipped it, but Lockdown, Smackdown,
yes.
TTS 2,
Yep.
Australia are about to kick off with another TTS event.
Yep.
We didn't cover it loads, but somebody we'd never heard. There's got a lot of names that we recognize in there. Deoxys, Spleen, Deborda, all them. The last one was actually won by a free folk player that I'd never heard of. So there could be even more sharks swimming around the pool in Australia that nobody knows about.
See who was in it. Yeah, we'll. Oh, Robert Cantrell. Yeah, I'm looking at that list of factions and I'm like, there's only one Targaryen in there. The rest are Greyjoy, Stark, Lannister, Baratheon. I can believe a free folk won that tournament with that layout of factions. Very much so. I do think free folk are up there as being a very good faction.
Yeah.
I really do think that. So yeah.
After that, we see the Thailand event happening this weekend.
Yep.
I think there's another one. Is there another event next weekend as well?
Yes, there is. There's one of the Polish ones.
Oh, Polish event, yeah, stated for the 15th. And then the weekend after that is where Imps Gaming, a Rotterdam tournament,
yes,
and Sunday Slaughter are all popping up. I think this Rotterdam tournament is brand new onto the site.
I will say, lastly, as well, shout out to I played quite a few games over the weekend, and just wanted to go through the player rankings, and we can see Winter's Coming's up there, and LM, A Song of Ice and Fire.
Yeah,
he's up here
who
as well.
I had a look at. He plays exclusively neutrals.
Indeed, I played against him. We went 1-for-1. I played against him with Mance and beat his Vargo list with Mance. He then played his Roos against my Weeper. A matchup that I think was his, like, I don't like my Weeper list into his Roos list. But based on the previous result, we thought we'd try this, and he beat me in a very close game. Really, really decent neutral player. He's got there based on neutrals, like everything is neutrals. He spoke to me about it and said, "Oh, I want to play other games. I want to play with other factions. I want to get higher up, or I want to play other factions as well, but I don't really want to have them tarnish my account and things like that." I said, "Play the others on this one. Be a much better indicator of your rank. Give you a much better indicator of who you are as a player and skill, and actually it's be more rewarding. Even if your rating drops, it will be more rewarding in the long run." So yeah, really good, and I know that you guys over at Rotterdam White Scars will know him quite well because he's a member of your guys. So yeah, huge success to him playing just neutrals, and I know that Winter is Coming's up there as well. Cool.
He's not even a neutral player.
Nah, he's not even a neutral player now. Dirty Targaryen player. Anyway, we will leave that there for today. We've talked about everything we could possibly want to talk about, the news, tournaments, and more. There's lots more coming up. Of course, NRG will be running round 3 with Game of Thrones. There'll be more news, no doubt, for... Oh, yes, of course, the London Grand Tournament. In case you forgot, there was an announcement. We kind of mentioned it last week anyway. But there's an official announcement now. There is an event running on the Friday, an ELO event.
Sign up.
Carlo's going to be in it. He's actually going to play in it. He's not going to run it. He's going to play in it. As is no doubt Chris and people like that. All the runners of the event, if you will, are going to be playing.
We will between us either both be or one of us be to make a equal pairing. We will make sure that there is everybody gets a game, and just like that, one of us 100% will be in, possibly both of us, just to make those numbers nice and square.
In hindsight, I should have probably just. I'll talk to you afterwards about it. Yeah.
Cool.
But yeah, 100% that's going ahead. Tickets and things are available for that as well. And yeah, catch you again for next week. We'll see how much of a chaotic week this week brings. Hopefully, it's a quiet one.
Can't be more chaos. It couldn't possibly be more chaos. There was so much chaos this week.
So much chaos.
Unless these units just arrive. Like if these units arrive from Russia, Singapore, then like that would be more chaos. Imagine the faction packs turned up and something was different, or just printed wrong. But
okay,
you know.
Yeah. Maybe it could be incredible. It could be the news that we've all been waiting for. We will see. Right then, guys. Thank you very much for heading down. Thank you very much for another great episode of Tourney Ground. We hit 50 viewers this week, which is fantastic. Fantastic. Love to see it. Love to see the growth. Tell your friends, tell your family to use stats. Even if they don't play Song of Ice and Fire, just tell them to use it anyway. And we will see you next week. Have a great week, guys. Ready, aim, release! Anyone see my mammoth?